Hello and welcome back to another video here on AshTalksBall, and it's an exciting one this week. NCAA college football is returning this weekend. It's officially week 0 on Saturday. We're going to have some games to talk about. These college football videos are going to be different to my EFL Championship videos, which are a lot more predictive. I'm going to try to make these college football videos more instructive. The sport of American football is growing in general in the UK. Obviously, the NFL are doing a great job with their international games and all their marketing deals, that the game is growing. However, I feel that college football is a fantastic product that more people deserve to be watching. Part of it, obviously, is that this is the start of the journey for players that you will see in the NFL. So it's good to get an early glimpse of those people so you know who to expect to come into the league every year. But just the product of college football, the history, the rivalries, the traditions. There are over 130 FBS teams, so many different matchups, so many different storylines. It is just a fascinating sport, and I think more people in the UK should be watching it. So I'm going to try and make these instructive, so if you do come across these games, you won't feel completely lost. Obviously, most of the rules are completely the same to the NFL, so you'll be able to follow the games when you do watch them. But with the help of these videos, where I go through a few games every weekend, I'll give you some backstory on the teams, on the conferences, on the situation, on the path to the national championship, how it all works. It can be a bit daunting when you first dip your toe into the college football waters because there is so much information, there's so much history, there's so many teams, there's so much to know. So I'm hoping these videos will give a little bit of insight to my fellow UK college football fans, and hopefully we can get that growing a little bit. It's never been a better time for a UK fan to get into college football. When I first started watching college football just over a decade ago, there used to be 3 or 4 games a week on the old BT Sport that became TNT Sport. They lost the media rights deal, and then we were literally down to 1, 2 or 3 games on Sky Sports, and those were not very consistent. But last year, DAZN started showing a lot of college football. They got rights from a lot of the big US networks like ESPN. They then added Fox. DAZN can currently show matches from pretty much all 4 of the major conferences, which is absolutely incredible. If you'd have told me that 10 years ago, I'd have been so happy. And the fact that it's there now on DAZN, which is not, this video is not paid promotion by DAZN. It's just the fact that that's where the games are. But it's never been so easy to watch college football here in the UK. The selection of games, you won't miss out. It's just the perfect time. So with the fact that DAZN has shown so many games, even there's going to be some games on Disney Plus by the look of things on the ESPN tab. There'll be some of the ESPN games, which is normally games from the SEC and ACC. They're on Disney Plus, which is a subscription a lot of people in the UK will already have. And I haven't checked this for this season yet, but Sky Sports usually have the right to Notre Dame home games. So that is 3 different platforms for us to watch college football here in the UK, which is absolutely incredible. So the plan for these videos is I'll pick a game from each time slot. If there are games on Thursday, Friday nights, I'll probably add one of those too. So we'll probably end up talking about 5 or 6 games per week. I'll go through the games, the favourites, a little bit about each team, what to look out for, if there's any future NFL players, and all the way on the path to a national championship. I'll try and guide you there. We're giving you information on all the important games, and in a nice, easy fashion for us in the UK can understand. So that's the plan. So we're on to week 0. There's not that many games to choose from. So I've chose 3 games for each time slot, and let's get into it. So NCAA college football week 0 is here. Let's talk about some games. So the first game we're going to be talking about is actually not being held in the US at all. It's become a bit of a tradition for a game to be held in Dublin, Ireland, to start off the college football season. And this season, that is going to be North Carolina taking on TCU. So an interesting game between 2 good programs from different conferences. So the first few weeks, we'll have a lot of matches that are out of conference. So North Carolina play in the ACC and TCU play in the Big 12. They'll be battling off in Ireland at 5 o'clock on Saturday. I believe this game is going to be both on DAZN and Disney Plus, so you can take your pick out of that. UNC, or the University of North Carolina, has been on a bit of a downtrend the last few years. Their last real good season was under Drake May, who is obviously now with the New England Patriots and led them to the Super Bowl last year. He went to school at North Carolina, but since he's gone, they've got a new coach who is actually Bill Belichick. Obviously, again, another connection there to the New England Patriots, 6-time Super Bowl champion there. He's the head coach. They had a real disappointing season in their first season with him last season. He came in with a lot of fanfare, a lot was expected of him, but it just did not work out last season. They've gone heavy in the transfer portal again to try and reset their roster, but as you can see with their pre-season win total over-under at 4.5, Vegas aren't really expecting to do much better. They do play in the ACC, which is a Power 4 conference, but not one of the big two. The SEC and the Big Ten are seen as the two power conferences, and with the ACC and the Big 12 still in the Power 4, but below those two. TCU is the other one of those conferences. They play in the Big 12. TCU, which stands for Texas Christian University, was actually in the national championship game only 4 years ago. They went on a crazy run under this head coach, under Sonny Dykes. They went all the way to the national title game, beat Michigan in the semi-final, but got absolutely trounced by Georgia in the national title game. They were never likely to keep up that kind of run. So the last couple of years have been a lot more inconsistent for the Horned Frogs. And another part of that this year is that they did lose their starting quarterback, Josh Hoover, who has joined Indiana in the transfer portal, the reigning national champions. So they've got in Jaden Craig from Harvard, who was a high-flying offense in the Ivy League. There's a lot of high hopes for TCU this season with their offense, and Vegas does currently have TCU as just over a touchdown favourites in this game. So the spread of the game is TCU minus 7.5 at the moment. So Vegas are definitely favouring TCU to have a comfortable win here in Dublin. It's going to be a real important game for both of these teams to get off on the front foot. UNC are unlikely to make any major noise in the ACC this year. Miami is the big favourite to win that conference and make a run in the playoffs like they did last year. So North Carolina, they do need to get the wins where they can, but this is a relatively tough non-conference game. TCU might be in the mix for the Big 12. Their preseason win total over-under is 6.5. The Big 12 is quite a close-knit conference. Apart from Texas Tech, a lot of the teams are quite similar, and there won't be many huge favourites. So TCU, if this offense does do what it's supposed to do, they will be hoping to make a run at maybe getting into the Big 12 title game. So a fun first game for week 0, UNC TCU in Dublin, TCU minus 7.5, so Vegas are favouring TCU, but it should be a fun game. Dublin games can sometimes get a bit weird, so it wouldn't be too surprising if maybe UNC can pull it out. But that's the first game here, week 0, UNC against TCU, one of the only 2 games of the opening weekend where it's 2 Power 4 teams against each other. TCU are favourites, and rightfully so, to get off to a good start, but it should be a good game between 2 Power 4 teams who need a win to kick-start their season. So there were 2 games to choose from the 8 or half 8 time slot. The only conference game of week 0 is an ACC clash between Virginia and NC State. But I'm not going to cover that one in depth. It should be a good game, and it is the other game between 2 Power 4 teams, and obviously 2 ACT teams at that. So it could have been a good choice. But the game that I'm going to be watching is San Jose State travelling to USC to play the Trojans. Let's be honest, this is not going to be a close game. If you want to watch a close game, definitely go for the Virginia-NC State game, which I believe is both on DAZN and Disney, so that would be a good choice for you. But I'm going to focus on this game because I want to see USC. USC are the only members of the top 25 rankings to be playing in week 0, and if things do go right for USC, they're probably the only team playing this weekend who have a real hope of fighting for a national title at the end of the season. They do play in the Big 10, which is one of the 2 power conferences, and they do have a tough schedule. They do have to play Ohio State, they do have to play Oregon, they do have to play Indiana, so they've got a really brutal schedule. So they might not be able to go, they might not have the best record, but if they have a 9 or 10 win season, they've got a very good chance of getting into the 12-team playoff. We'll have more playoff talk as we go out throughout the season. Obviously, this is just week 0. We've got a long way to go. I'll give a brief layout of the playoff format. It's a 12-team playoffs for the College Football National Championship. They're reserved for the 5 highest-ranked conference champions. And also the highest-ranked Group of 6 conference championship also gets a spot. And then the rest of the spots do go to at-large bids based on the College Football Committee's rankings that will come out at the end of the season. So a 12-team playoff. If you're a conference champion, especially in the top 4 leagues, which we spoke about earlier, then you'll go in the playoffs. But a lot of teams will rely on the at-large bids, including USC, because their conference schedule is going to be brutal for them. So USC, Southern California, is one of the blue bloods of college football. They're one of the most historic traditional programs, but they haven't been at that top echelon of college football for quite some time. Their quarterback is Jaden Maeva. He's definitely going to be an NFL draft pick. Maybe even with a good season, he could be a first-round pick. And under Lincoln Riley, who has had a lot of number 1 picks and a lot of Heisman Trophy winners, Maeva could be in for a huge season, and he's part of the reason why I definitely want to get a look at him early on against a team in San Jose State who really won't be able to compete. Vegas obviously has the line at minus USC minus 38.5. So USC is basically starting with 38.5 points. That does sound a lot, but more than likely USC will probably cover that, maybe even by halftime, especially with the high-powered offenses that Lincoln Riley normally have with his teams. He had them at Oklahoma when he was the head coach there, and also now at Southern Cal. SJSU plays in the Mountain West, which is one of the Group of 6 conferences, which is the tier below the Power 5. They are still FBS, but they're not in the Power 4. So their head coach is Kenya Matalolo, who is a real respected coach in the industry. He was head coach at Navy for a long time, and this is his second year at San Jose State. Obviously, it's going to be a tough season for them. They're not predicted to do very well in the Mountain West. Their preseason win total over-under is 4.5. So Vegas aren't expecting them to make much noise in that conference. USC will be using this game as a warm-up game pretty much, basically kind of like a preseason friendly. They'll be looking to get to a big early lead, rest their stars, and then get some young guys in. Another reason why I picked this game is that USC had the number 1 rated recruiting class coming out of high school last year. So they've got a lot of young talent coming into the program this year. And I'm looking to see if any of them get any game time, like either as starters, like defensive end Luke Waffle. He was the highest rated recruit in USC's class. And we'll see if he can get on the field either during the game or in garbage time. Which might be pretty early, especially when you look at the spread at minus 38.5. So when you go to this game, don't expect it to be competitive. If you want a competitive game, go watch the NC State-Virginia game. But if you want to look at the only ranked team, the only team with big aspirations this season who are playing this week, check out the USC game, USC San Jose State. This one will only be available on DAZN because it's a Big Ten game, which is normally under the Fox network. So this one will only be on DAZN. But San Jose State travelling to USC at the Coliseum, a fantastic stadium, but just don't expect a close game. Just see it as a scouting experience for USC, Jada Maeva, and all of the young USC talent. And the final game I have for you for week 0 is at the midnight time slot, so going over to Sunday morning. This one should be both on DAZN and Disney, so you've got your option there. And it's going to be Hawaii travelling to Stanford. Hawaii is one of the fun Group of 6 teams. They play in the Mountain West Conference, the same as San Jose State, but their over-under win total is 7.5, so Vegas are expecting more of them this season. Hawaii's nickname is the Rainbow Warriors, which is one of the funnest nicknames in college football. Obviously, Hawaii based in the islands of Hawaii, so they always have a lot of travelling to do, and vice versa. When teams play at Hawaii, that is a long flight. Past in the Pacific. So I've always found Hawaii a fun team to root for. They always have pretty high flying offenses. They have a unique system. They have a good young quarterback in Alejandro, who had a really good season last season. They're coached by Timmy Chang, who's at his alma mater. And they did play Stanford last season on the islands, and they did manage to beat Stanford, which was a big upset. So this is the rematch from that, a non-conference game. Stanford, a well-known university, obviously for their academics. You've got to be real smart to get into Stanford. It's a prestigious university, one of the best places you can get degrees from. But the fact that it does take a lot to get into Stanford, you need real good grades. It does take away a lot of the people that they could potentially recruit from. So Stanford, they're in the ACC. They moved there a couple of years ago after conference realignment when the old Pac-12 was dissolved pretty much. The Pac-12 is starting again this year with some new teams. But Stanford had to try and find a home, so they're playing in the ACC, which means their away travel is absolutely insane, and they normally have to travel the length of America just to travel to their away games, which is absolutely crazy. College football did used to be quite regionalised, but with the recent realignment, geography really doesn't mean much anymore. So Stanford are part of the ACC, which does stand for the Atlantic Coast Conference, and of course Stanford is in California, which is the complete other side of the country. So not much is expected from Stanford this season. Their pre-season win total over-under is 3.5. They've got a first-year head coach in Tavita Pritchard. This is his first head coaching job, so that's a bit of unknown as well. They've announced that their starting QB is going to be Davis Warren, who is a transfer from Michigan. He played a few games for them, and it was an absolute disaster a couple of years ago, so we don't have much faith in their quarterback. Stanford is favoured in this game. They are 5.5-point favourites. But I think this could be a real interesting game where Hawaii could go over to California and potentially get the upset. So obviously with the time zones, some of these games are going to be late. This one does kick off at midnight. So it might be one to watch the next day on demand. You can always go on and watch a full match replay. Some matches do come with highlights after the fact, so you could always watch highlights or watch the full game replay afterwards. But this should be a fun game. I think Hawaii is a pretty fun team to root for, and it's a fun non-conference game to get started. So Hawaii at Stanford, midnight, and it could be a real interesting game to watch, especially with an underdog going to Stanford. So a short video, this one for week 0. Obviously, there wasn't that many games to choose from. The other major game of note is Memphis traveling to UNLV, a fun out-of-conference game there. Memphis part of the American Conference, UNLV part of the Mountain West, one of the favourites of the Mountain West. That game will kick off at around 3 o'clock, so that is one I'll be watching on demand the day after. But those are my 3 games that I'll be watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what game you're looking forward to. College football is such a fun ride from the end of August all the way to the middle of January in the National Championship. So these videos will be longer in the following weeks. Official week 1 is next week. There'll be a lot more games to choose from then. The first few weeks are normally at our conference, so there'll be some lopsided matchups, but I'll try and find the matchups that I think will be a lot of fun. And then from week 3, 4 onwards, that's when conference play will start and the fixtures will start piling up and we'll get some real ranked on ranked matchups. So thanks for joining me. I love college football and I just want to spread it for as many of the UK fans as I can. Obviously, if there's any Americans watching, feel free to watch along, comment on the videos. I'm just looking to spread the love of college football as much as I can because I absolutely love it. So thanks for watching my first college football video. There'll be another championship prediction video later in the week. But once again, as always, thanks for talking ball with me and I'll see you next time.